would describe yourself as constantly anxious? Do you have that kind of running mind all day long? Your heart's pumping and you just feel like you are constantly on edge? Well, if you are anxious all the time, it is time that we chat, because it might not actually be what's happening to you. It's what you're eating that is causing your anxiety. Believe it or not, your diet can fuel your emotions, and it can cause a big uptick in people who are predispositioned to be anxious to feel way, way, way more anxious. So I want to help you by telling you what could be happening in your diet today that is making you anxious, and let's fix it and get you feeling cool, calm, and collected. So, number one, the first thing that I see in people's diets that could be making them anxious is their blood sugar is out of whack. So if your blood sugar is like a roller coaster where it is going up really high and then crashing really down low, and then going up really high and crashing down really low, you want to imagine how that feels to your body. It is stressed out. If you are going on this like roller coaster ride every day with blood sugar, it is very likely creating some anxiety. And long story short, the science behind that is when your blood sugar crashes, you actually release adrenaline to bring it back up. And we know adrenaline is like heart pumping, going crazy, going wild, right? So if you are somebody who's prone to anxiety, you are likely to feel anxious on that blood sugar up and blood sugar down roller coaster that you're on. So how do you balance your blood sugar? Two things are going to make a really big difference. The one is stop intermittent fasting or stop going too long without food. If you are somebody who skips breakfast and waits until 12 or 1 o'clock to eat lunch, your blood sugar naturally was dropping that whole window. And that's, again, creating that boom effect that can create a big uptick in adrenaline, making you very anxious. So eat consistently throughout the day. Have a breakfast, have a lunch, have a snack, have a dinner. And that really grounds your body instead of just having nothing in your body, leaving you floating all around. Number two is if you are eating meals that are just light and feathery carbs as your meal with no fat and protein to ground you down, that can also contribute to a big swing in anxiety. For instance, if you have even something healthy for breakfast, like a bowl of fruit, you want to ground that with a fat and protein like a Greek yogurt or some hard-boiled eggs, because that fruit will quickly absorb into your bloodstream, spike the blood sugar, and then crash down. Whereas when we have that nice fat and protein grounding you down, you're going to not get that whoop and crash that we're trying to avoid. So add fat and protein to all of your meals to keep your blood sugar stabilized. And just think about it. If your blood sugar is stable, you're going to feel stable. So that is our number one tip. Keep the blood sugar balanced. Number two, when it comes to reducing anxiety, we have to talk about coffee. Please don't kill me and please don't turn the channel. But coffee is a big stimulant. And if you are somebody who is naturally anxious and you are basically taking a stimulant, you are going to be like fight or flight mode and feeling very, very super anxious. So a couple things before you think you have to give up coffee. You can actually make over your coffee by adding some fat into your coffee. You might have heard of the Bulletproof Coffee trend that was going on a couple years ago. Well, it's still good. So you could actually blend a little bit of butter, a little bit of coconut oil, a little bit of MCT oil into your coffee to help pare down that response you get when you have coffee, when it spikes that blood sugar up and makes you go all crazy. Number two is you could switch to matcha or green tea. Sometimes that's just a better effect on your body. So maybe experiment with matcha versus coffee and see which one feels better to you. Big sign is if you're getting sweaty pits, sweaty hands, and you're feeling just kind of nervous and like you could run through a door and break it down, you probably are a little coffee sensitive. So if that's the case, I would say find an alternative to coffee, and that could really get rid of that anxiety, and you're gonna feel so much better. Number three is another one where you're gonna say, I'm gonna change the channel, but we gotta talk about alcohol. If you think alcohol is making you feel good, you're right, for about the hour that you're drinking. But as soon as you're done drinking, you are disrupting the whole balance in your body, and it is like being on a boat with sea legs. Your serotonin levels can take a dip, and that's why sometimes you wake up and you have the alcohol blues, as I call it. You feel a little bit down and out. It also creates that anxious effect where you just feel a little on edge after a night of drinking, or just for some people like me, even having one glass of wine can really trigger trigger a little bout of anxiety. So again, it doesn't mean that you have to stop drinking. You could, but you could just pare down your drinking. Make sure that you're adding in water when you're drinking, because here's another one I'll just throw in for free. If you are dehydrated, that can also be a big contributor to feeling more anxious. So drinking more water and drinking less alcohol is a good way for you to start to feel better faster. So these are going to be our big 3 things that we want to change in terms of our diet. Number 1, we want to balance those blood sugars. Number 2, we want to make sure we're not just living off of coffee 24/7. And number 3, we want to pare down alcohol, have a little bit less to feel a lot better. But that's not all. We talked about diet, but I would feel so sad if I didn't mention this. You also need to create a lifestyle that does not breed anxiety. And I'm going to give you 2 big factors that will make a big difference as your bonus tips. Number 1, get outside and get away from the screens. We are all working all day on our computers, but tell your boss you are going out to take a 10-minute walk to get your sunshine and to just come back to life. That is going to make a huge difference in paring down that anxiousness that you're feeling. So outdoor walk every day. And number 2, less time scrolling on social media before bed. That just gets all the little wheels in your brain racing and you start to feel a little bit freaked out and on edge. And you can easily find some alternatives, which I have in another video for you, I'll link below, that will help you relax and calm down and get much better sleep because you're no longer anxious and you are feeling incredible. I'd love to hear what you do to get rid of your anxiety. Tell me in the comments below and let me know if you have any questions.